What you are currently listening to is bonus content, and it will not affect the scheduling of your regular Tabletop Twats episodes. So, please sit back and enjoy.
How was the dentist?
Fun, yeah, you know, had a filling put back on. Great stuff.
Oh my god. I can't stand fillings, man.
I hate it. I'm just going to have them taken all out and just go Jaws style, I think. Just have them all fucking
You're going to turn into a shark?
Yeah, exactly. Going to have a fin put onto my back and be done with it. Go live my rest of the time in the sea.
You're like, I hate the dentist. Fuck this. I'm off to the sea.
I'm going to become a fish. Well, yeah, you know.
You know what?
Dream,
you know what I fucking hate about fillings is they always tell you, they're like, oh yeah, don't worry, this isn't going to hurt a bit. You aren't going to feel a thing, and then your head vibrates at like 5,000 RPM, and you're like, actually, yeah, I do feel this. It's really fucking unpleasant.
Oh yeah. Then you walk out, and it feels like you've been hit around the head with a baseball bat, and they're like, oh, don't eat for 2 hours. You're like, oh, thanks.
But you won't feel a thing, so it's fine.
Nah. Yeah. See you later.
Fuck off, dentist.
Get out.
I'm going to the sea.
Fucking, I'm going to live in the sea. I've had enough.
Anyway, today we're doing a bonus episode. We're going to talk about how to build interesting combat encounters, or good ones at least, or you know, all right ones. No, it's how to build good combat encounters, because I think a lot of people they always do those type of, as my mate Paris calls it, monster in a box type combat encounters, and we want to sort of talk about how to avoid those. We haven't really got a plan for this episode because it's just a bonus, guys. You know, it's just free.
It's coming out of nowhere. Yeah, exactly. It's coming out of nowhere. Left wing, right wing, forward stage. Who knows what's going on?
This is a very right wing episode.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just coming out of nowhere. Nick's been at the dentist. He's high on all sorts of things.
Novocaine, yeah.
And so we're just gonna freeball it. All right, free base.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get on with it.
I don't want to see him kissing goblins, or if you catch him in bed with a goblin, you know, that's a problem.
So if you're GMing fucking hell, there's all sorts of noises going on here. So if you're GMing a game, obviously a big part of most games, not all, before all of you internets get out there, get angry at me, most games is you're going to build your combat encounters. You're going to get all your monsters ready, your XPs, all of this type of stuff. And I guess what a lot of GMs do is they go, yeah, you go into a cave and you fight this first encounter, then this next encounter, then you fight them, and then at the end there's a boss waiting in a big circular room, and then you beat him up.
Get his loot.
Get his loot, and then you walk all the way back through that cave, and then it's a day's ride back to town. How satisfying.
Yeah.
And those adventures, I guess they can be fun, because, you know, shit's going to happen in the combat, no doubt. Like, somebody's going to roll a crit fail, drop their sword behind them, it hits the guy behind them, all of this stuff. But the thing is, we can do better, can't we, listeners?
Mm-hmm. We sure can.
So, Nick, what do you do when you build a combat encounter? You're sitting at home and you're trying to get a better one than that. What's your number one tip? Because we played your zombie campaign and Gen Lab a while back. So what's your I don't know, not number one tip, but what do you do when you build a combat encounter?
Well, try to think of non-conventional ways of doing a combat encounter. So, you know, like you said, you know, you got your run of the mill. You go through, you kill a couple of goblins, and then oh no, it's the goblin's mum. Get rid of him, and then you know, right at the end, it's goblin's granddad, and then you're done well. But I think if people are expecting that, they gear up for it. So throw stuff at them that they don't expect. You know, why not start a boss fight right at the beginning? Fuck it.
You know what? That would really shit them up.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's actually not a bad tip, because let's say for example they were geared up for it, and in the first room there's not actually a dungeon in that cave. It is literally just you open the room and there it fucking is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And actually exactly. The rest of the adventure is going to be somewhere else. It's actually not going to be a dungeon. It's going to be something else. Maybe that's a good tip. Because you know what? That actually happens in the beginning of the Chained Coffin, the DCC adventure we're currently playing. Because they say to you, like the adventure opens and like all these people in this town are dying and they're getting killed by skeletons and these like big skeleton monsters. You go out of town to investigate it. You open this cave in the first fucking room. It's like, oh, there they are. Okay, you deal with them and they're relatively easy, and you're just like,
yeah, that's it. We've done it.
Yeah, you think the adventure's going to be skeleton adventure, but it ain't. Something completely different. You got to drag this coffin around some mountains.
Do you know what I loved about that whole adventure as well was the fact that, which is quite clever, is the fact that, yeah, it was a talking coffin. So straight away, some of the party's backs were up. They were like, I don't trust this coffin. Not to mention it's covered in chaos. Like it was literally like, you know, all these kind of runes scraped into it, chained up with adamantium chains and stuff. And they did not trust that coffin one bit, did they?
No. Well, it doesn't look trustworthy. It's a big black fucking coffin. I love the fact that the coffin at the time, he was like, listen, I understand. I've met many a talking coffin in my time, and I have trusted none of them.
I like it when he was like, I'm stuck inside. We was like, what was we saying to it again? We was just like, all right, well, what do you need our help for? And we was got at one point, I think we was just going to completely not bother with it.
Because you were just like, no, I don't trust the talking coffin. Let's go, guys. Yeah. And he's like, I can't. Please, I really need you. And the whole time you were just going to bugger off.
Oh, exactly. But he was like, I can come out and help you at the end and all this. And we was like, okay, well, fair enough. Let's kill this big evil and this dude, this talking coffin's got to help us. Yeah.
But back to combat encounters. So one of the things that I like to do in any given combat encounter, not all of them, because you can't do this all the time, but is chuck a curveball in there. Yeah. Like I remember, in a good example of this is in your zombie game, Nick.
Mm.
And this is kind of a trope of the genre. But in your zombie game, there was one combat encounter where we were getting munted off by zombies, our truck broke down, and then we had to run through a big field. And this combat encounter then, it became like, okay, yes, you could be in a field fighting zombies, and that would be your standard. Okay, you're getting attacked by zombies, punch them in the face. But then you made it into, you're getting attacked by zombies, but you're in corn as twice the height of you, so good luck trying to see them. You can roll notice. So you chuck the curveball in there. And it's like, if you do that, it tends to make encounters a lot more interesting. Even if it's something as small as a massive rain starts up.
I was about to say, use weather. Another great thing that people I think maybe sometimes don't think about is that you don't just have to worry about using the boss or the enemies. Throw some crazy weather in there. You know, a big boss fight in a thunderstorm while flashes of lightning crack in the background and you're being pelted with rain, affects your visibility. Things like that can make it more fun.
Yeah, and also rain and things like that can be a curveball because it then creates bloody, what do you call it, treacherous ground. I forget, there's like a game term for it, isn't there? It's like... uneven playing field, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, it can give a penalty. Maybe you can't run as fast. Maybe you're getting stuck in the mud, you know. Yeah, but I forget what they call it in D&D where you have to move half your pace because it's like uneven... Fuck me. It's like, there is a word for it, but I can't bloody remember it, listeners. All right, I don't play D&D that much.
But treacherous ground sounds good.
Yeah, treacherous ground, bitch. But yeah, there's loads of things like that. And I also think that, yeah, just trying to throw little curveballs in there during fights. If the players have to fight a bunch of vampires, don't have them fighting the vampires. Have them fighting the vampires on a bloody rooftop where they might slip off. Have them fighting the vampires while they're trying to get away in a wagon, because the vampires aren't just going to try and stand there and fight and just go bleh, are they? They're going to try their best to throw something between you and them. Most people, when they're in a fight, they don't just go, hey, I'm going to get you one-on-one. They'll try and kick you in the nuts.
Of course they will.
In fact, think about the way your players fight and do the same.
Mm-hmm. Or what about, add another hazard or something that incorporates a time limit. So, I don't know, you're having a big fight in a house that's on fire.
Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome. But I was playing D&D 5th edition last week with a guy. I don't know that much about 5th edition, Nick. I'm going to be honest, having only played it once, which was last week. You know more than
me, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
You're loving it, though.
This guy, he had this ability, right? Where he could stab somebody and then it would create a rune on them. And then if they moved, it would explode. And so what he kept on doing was stabbing these guys that we're fighting. We're fighting a bunch of gnolls. And he would stab them. And then jump away and then go, "Oi, you ugly, come over here," and then the guy would chase him and then explode. And then
That's cool.
But the monsters and you in D&D like have a lot of HP, so he kept on doing it. And because Noel's a stupid, he would just stab him. Then Noel would go, "How dare you run away from me?" and then chase him. And while this big fight was going on, he kept on running round in a circle, and then just going like. Then the Noel would get angry, chase him about. It was really funny. But what I'm saying is the point is that the bad guys can use these kind of tactics against you. So have them fight dirty. How many times have you been down a cave, fought a bunch of goblins? So even if you are doing a goblin fight, which is an inevitability in D&D because you have to go up that level curve, the power curve. You have to fight the correct CR, which I can't remember what that stands for, but it's like basically a rating of what monsters are to your level. Having not ever run Pathfinder, Nick, you won't know about that. But like,
No.
yeah, basically an encounter like has a certain balance rating called like CR. So each monster has that, and they have to sort of add up to the total of like the party's levels.
Oh yeah, I think I've read something about that before. Yeah, so it makes sense. So it kind of balances out encounters.
But the only thing is, yeah, but the only thing is it means it's inevitable that you're going to be fighting goblins, then this thing, then this thing. Or there's other things that you can get, like bandits are the same level, gnolls are the same level, like that kind of thing. But anyway, with the early level monsters, let's say for instance you've got goblins, they're not like zombie stupid. They are intelligent enough to form tribes, to do this, that, and the other. So if you're going into their lair, they're going to make traps. They're going to try to also survive. They won't just stand there and fight. They're going to leg it. They're going to throw bottles of piss in your face or try to set your dick on fire. They're going to have fun with it, you know? That's the thing.
And they should have some kind of rudimentary order and kind of... you know, like you said, that you're going into their world at the end of the day. So they may not be masters in battle, but at the same time, they know how to defend their turf. Yeah. And they know it better than an adventurer ever would.
Exactly. You're 100% right there, Nick. And they're going to fight dirty and they're going to fight mean. That's the thing. So, yeah. And another thing that, another very, very good tip that a lot of people use for Savage Worlds, but that applies to any game, is make your it depends on the game, but like make your encounters like a movie. And if it really, really does depend on the game, but if you are the sort of person that struggles to make interesting encounters, just apply it to any game. Who cares? Because if you're playing a grim Wild West campaign, for example, those types of campaigns should have quick combat. That's just like a few shots and then people go down. However, I would say just apply it like a movie and do it cinematically anyway, because it's still going to be bloody fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, personally, I mean, I love role playing and I love the role playing aspect of it. And combat is fun, but there's nothing worse than a boring combat. Oh man, I'll tell you what, it is. It can really bring a game to a halt. And it's like, you know, combat's meant to be exciting, if not one of the most exciting parts of a game, I suppose. And if it's just a bit like, okay, this guy moves over, he hits. All right, cool. Yeah, this guy's going to move over and he's going to stab. It's like, oh, come on, it's so boring.
Yeah, and has anybody ever said, you know what I love? A big, long combat.
No.
I mean, this was the problem with, like, 4th edition that everyone had, wasn't it? Just a quick aside here. If anyone hears some strange noises, that is not me. I haven't got gas, by the way, Nick. That is downstairs are doing some drilling.
Oh, they love
a bit of that, fun kind.
Yeah, no, the DIY kind.
Yes, the bad kind.
You're surrounded by people that like to make loud noises, aren't you?
I am.
It sucks.
Arseholes.
Never mind.
I remember a while back, like when I used to play 4th edition, that's what it was. It was just all combat. And a lot of times you would just be like, yep, you roll hit. You do 8 damage. I think you hit something on the head there, Nick. Is that if you're DMing a game and you want to make interesting combat encounters, get descriptive as well, because
exactly. Yes,
that helps.
Yes.
You don't.
Rather than, he prods him with his sword. It's like, make it interesting. If the first guy's used his sword, then the second enemy, when he attacks, maybe he runs up the wall and does a backflip as he spins. Anything that makes it a little bit more descriptive and you can imagine it more in your mind. And it's not just a bunch of, let's be honest, squares on a piece of paper that walk up to each other and you roll some dice. Say what they're doing, make it different.
Yeah, because let's be honest, like, if your DM's sitting there the whole night, you hit, you do 8 damage. Okay, goblin's dead. Right, okay, next goblin. Right.
Sounds like a fucking dinner party.
Yeah. And then everyone at their table solemnly nods their head. Goblin's dead.
Done right there.
Okay.
Yeah, well done.
Oh.
XP? Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, lordy. Like, I
and
like
the deaths as well. Make the deaths descriptive. Don't just be like, okay, yeah, you stab him, he falls on the floor. Get dirty. The last guy tears his sword through and cleaves the guy in half, and this, gore is sprayed everywhere, and now you've got blood all over the floor, and now it's become more slippery for the rest, and anything like that.
Even if you're doing a more serious game, like, you can always allow characters to like narrate their own kills if you want.
Encourage it.
Yeah, and then or in addition to that, if you're doing a more serious game, you can still just get realistic with it if you want. But sometimes if you're doing a dumb game, and like you said, Nick, narrate the deaths. I've had characters pull out photos of their family on about like 20 occasions.
Oh, it's the worst. When one of your guys is dying, and it's just like, tell my wife. It's like, where did this come from?
and then he's like, no, only joking.
But it's brilliant. And it makes it, and you'll remember it. It won't just be a boring combat that just was literally, we beat some guys and that was it, or beat up some monsters. It's like, do you remember that last boss that actually turned out to be an all right in his death throes, and you actually make the party feel a bit bad. Make them feel guilty. Why not? They're murdering people.
Yeah, and the role playing doesn't stop because combat is on. That's one thing I always say. And equally, the GMing doesn't stop because the combat's on. So keep the descriptions going. Keep the atmosphere going. That's your job as a DM. So yeah, keep those descriptions coming. Like that's what I sort of pride myself on. I mean, it doesn't always come out properly. Like sometimes I give.
No, but you've had some gruesome. No, but a lot of the time, some of with like really gruesome kind of, descriptions that normally, you could just pass it off as he's dead and everything. But then they stay with you, and then you're like, oh, that made me feel a bit bad.
I mean, if somebody rolls a 46 on damage, you're not
something's
running
happening
in there. It's not you hit the monster, he's dead, and then everyone nods solemnly. That person's getting hacked to bits.
Yeah, absolutely. Eyeballs are flying everywhere.
We were playing DCC recently, and I won't say which episode it was, but you smacked somebody with a staff, and I think you know which one I'm talking about, Nick. But you smacked somebody with a staff, and you really wailed on him, and the guy started puking up blood and all of this because you smacked him so hard.
It was so grim.
But like these types of things, like it really, really makes for a better combat, and that. It's funny because just adding a bit of description. You're not changing anything about the combat. Even then, you could still have a monster in a box type combat. But all you've done is just kept the atmosphere going, and you've got and that's it. You've just gone, oh shit, this is getting real.
Exactly. And I would say as well, as a player, get involved as well. Don't be like, right, I'm stuck. I've only got one attack. I'm cornered. I'm just going to attack. Think of other things to do. Start like I've had it before when it's just like, I've got nothing I can do is anything decent, but let's just think of something really random. All right, I'm going to leg it over here and spit at one of them. I'm going to try and make a distraction. I'm going to try and anything. Just keep different things. Don't try not to stick to just a straight out like let's chop down this big tree kind of thing.
That's a good
point.
Mix
it up a bit.
Like I've seen so many players when they get into a combat look at their sheet, like especially when you have like a character that's just got a pistol. Do you know what I mean? In like a wild, I'm thinking of Wild West a lot because I played Deadlands last night. But like,
exactly.
A pistol in a game like that, and they just go, it's all I can do, and so they just go, yeah. And they just fire the pistol over and over again, and it's fine. It's a legit strategy. It might be what you would do in a gunfight, but my point is that if you can do something better, try it. Much as any role-playing game is give and take, I guess combat is as well. Because on the player side, put a bit more effort.
Totally. Maybe rather than shooting the guy and doing 2 damage, hopefully you might shoot a chandelier that's covered in candles that hits the floor and, like we said before, sets the place on fire, and now you've got an interesting element in there.
No, you're right though, because you've got a gun at your disposal. Why do you just go, I shoot the guy? and then try and do the damage. Like, put a bit of fucking effort in. Because, like, last night, for example, Johnny, one of my mates who's never played Deadlands before, right? There are so many people, right, that just go, I attack him with my longsword or whatever. But Johnny, he immediately went for the guy's hand. He burst into this room where he saw these two guys fighting each other. And then his immediate action was, oh, he's pointing a gun at my friend. He went, I shoot the guy's hand. Not, I shoot the guy. Right, I'm going to fucking shoot him. Not any of this stuff. He went, right, I shoot the guy's hand. And that was
cool shot, makes it exciting. And if you pull it off, man, it's cool.
Oh, yeah, it was a harder shot to do. But he fucking nailed it. He hit with a raise, meaning he got extra damage. And then he mangled the guy's hand. The hand just looked like a big, massive, like, viscera on the end of a stick. It was horrible.
Oh, and then it's no more shooting on from that hand. You know, that might be his good hand. You know, now the enemy's being handicapped because, you know, he's shooting off of his weaker hand now.
Yeah, the combat didn't go well for that guy. I mean, not Johnny, but the enemy. The fucking Doc Lightning, this weird scientist, burst into the room with his lightning gun, smashed the table that he was sitting at to pieces, and then the guy basically gave up. He was just like, look, don't kill me.
Wait, I love my hand.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, players, you can act in so many interesting ways. Often, if you do that kind of stuff, the GM is gonna like you. He'll try his best, or she will try their best to reward you. Like the thing is, if you're doing those kind of stuff, and often the games have built-in reasons to reward you for that. Like a lot of games have things called stunts or tricks or things like this. Like built into their system. So if you go in there and you go, I want to try and trip this guy up, then there'll be a rule for tripping or something like this, and then they'll be more prone to all your other players' attacks, and all your other players are going to be like, nice one, man, or whatever.
Exactly. Or like, you know, playing Savage Worlds, you know, people underrate the taunt so much, but, you know, taunt someone, get a penalty to their parry for the rest of the crew, the big heavy guy comes in with the big hits, you know, the guy's already got a guaranteed hit because of the taunt from the round before, and people think, oh, it ain't really an attack though. Yes, it is. It's a psychological attack, and it's great.
It's funny though, I didn't even really think about that coming in, like how important it is like for it to have exciting players. But then the thing is, I often find as a GM, like when I'm making combat encounters, half the battle is making the situations so exciting that it makes the players think of the exciting maneuvers.
Oh, mate. Well, the one that springs to mind straight away for me, sorry to cut you in, but just while it's on the tip of my tongue, I think it was one of the first ever battles we had in Solomon Kane when we was fighting all the villagers and they were on different platforms within a building and we were trying to chop the platforms down. It was incredible. It was so cool. And all that was different levels of attacks from different heights.
Was that... You know? Oh, God, yeah.
Do you remember?
That's in... it's actually a pre-made adventure called The Uffington Dragon.
Right.
But I changed the ending, and basically the guys went to launch an attack on the mayor of this village, and he was so rich that he'd hired about 20 guys. And so, yeah, just to make it interesting, the mayor just sort of ran in and was like, "Oh no, I hope nobody gets me." And he basically he's a fucking human. He's clever. So what he did is he ran in, making him obvious. You guys chased him in, and as you got inside, he'd basically launched an ambush, and all of these people came out of all the bedrooms on the upper level, and were all standing on the balcony, just each one of them loaded with a gun.
Yeah.
And then on the lower levels, you got surrounded by people with swords, and then that was that you basically got ambushed. And I'm like, yeah, it's unfair. Yeah, there's way more people than there are you, but that's an interesting encounter.
And we figured it out.
Yeah, you can either run, or if you want to beat them, you're gonna have to be bloody clever, and that's it. And also, yeah, like you say, all it is that certain people have elevation and certain people don't. That means if you want to get up there to hit those people, you're gonna have to run, throw something. You're gonna have to use your gun, which only has one bullet, and then you're gonna have to reload. Like, it just means that there's something interesting to that encounter. You're not all fighting on the same plane. And also, the other interesting thing is that you are vastly outnumbered. That's it.
Yep.
And the guy that you're after is escaping while this ambush is going on. Like,
so there's a time limit involved as well. So it's another angle.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And we chopped him down in the end. You know, Sean's character got his big axe out and just started getting to work on one of the pillars. And before you know it, half of the balcony had fallen down. It was fantastic.
Yeah, the balcony fell down. Loads of them got injured. And then the ones that weren't injured were staggering to get up. And you started bashing them over the heads. And then they were sort of drawing their swords and trying to attack you with rapiers.
So cool.
It's fucking cool, man. Yeah, that was fun. But that's, so, I mean, those are some pretty decent tips, I feel. I mean, I don't really have any other tips other than that. Really keep it cinematic, keep the description going, and I suppose try to encourage your players to do cinematic stuff and to try and keep to do stuff like that. But the only way because I don't want to you don't really want to stand at the table, do you, Nick, and be like, you can try to do cooler stuff than what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to hint too much.
And I found that, when a game has loads of really cool combat maneuvers, i.e. Savage Worlds is a good example, and DCC is another one, the best way to encourage players to use them is to use them against them, right? If the other characters are using aim, wild attack, or if another character is using cool spells in DCC, the likelihood is that the players will then go, oh, can we do that? Cool, I'm going to do it. So,
fuck you, I'm coming back at you with it. Yeah, exactly.
So I think a way to get players to do cool shit during cinematic moments is to just have it happen. Like for example, let's take for example another one during Solomon Kane was when they were chasing down these vampires, dear listener, and it was a wagon chase. And the way it was is I actually had these two wagons mapped out on separate grid paper on the map, and they could move.
Explain how easy that is to recreate, though. So that sounds quite technical and interesting, but let's be honest, it was a piece of paper with two square bits of paper on top of it.
Yeah,
that's all we needed. That's all you needed to visualize exactly what was going on.
Yeah, so it's just a grid paper, just 6 by 2, and then on top of another grid paper. That was it.
Yep.
And then, and so all of the minis were on this one grid paper, all of the vampires were on another grid paper, and then as they moved around the battlefield, like by doing their driving rolls and this and the other, the vampires would leap over to their carriage, and then the other guys would leap over to the vampires' carriage because they saw the vampires do it. Yep. At first, they were all standing on their one, and they were like, right, I'm going to try and throw something over there. What have I got in my pockets? And I was just like... then as soon as they saw one of the vampire stage handlers like run over from their stagecoach to their one and leap, then Pete was like, right, fuck this, and he was like, right, he leapt over and he started smacking
Geronimo.
Then you did it, and then everyone was over there just fucking slashing at him, and then suddenly we had this like huge big wagon chase. It was fucking awesome.
It really was, and it was like you said, it was a battle, but that extra dimension made it so much more exciting because not only were you trying to fight some vampires, but you were leaping across wagons that were running at speed, doing agility checks left, right, and centre just to keep your balance.
One of my favourite bits though was when Pete went over the edge, and I had a rule during that combat encounter that if you wanted to roll agility when you fell off, you could try and grab on the side. Yeah, he did, but as he did so, he sort of got... I can't remember how this happened, but part of his robe got caught up on the side, and then he was just being dragged behind it, and he took so much damage, he passed out, and he was he was incapacitated, just being dragged
he was
along.
But it was such a good visualization, and it was great. But like you said, I think definitely a good tip if you want to kind of emphasize the environment, be descriptive before the fight kicks off. Tell them there's a chandelier there. Tell them there's a wall there. Tell them there's a big broken window there. The more description you give a room, the more people can visualize that room in their mind, and then the more they will use that imaginary room to their advantage.
Yeah, because you're the one that's giving them some tools. If you want them to know that they can pick up the glass and stab a guy with it, tell them some sharp, angular glasses on the floor. Don't just go, there's a bunch of glass on the floor.
Exactly, razor sharp. Exactly that. And then you'll go, and you'll be like, oh wow, okay, well, I've run out of bullets. Can I grab a shard of glass and launch it at them? Yeah, of course you can. That's why I spoke about it.
Maybe they get a little nick of cut their feet on it slightly as they walk in, not enough to do damage, but then it tells them that I can use this to fuck a guy up.
Absolutely. You know, you're fighting in a bar and there's loads of booze behind the bar. You know, you've got a flammable liquid right there and a petrol bomb just asking to be used.
Yeah, because it's all about show, don't tell, isn't it? I mean, it's you can tell. It's funny because it's harder to do in an RPG than it is in any other medium, but you can show them by having it happen to their character. Like, you can say, oh, there's as you enter the gunfight in the saloon, you can smell the booze. It smells as strong as motor oil or something like this. I don't know.
Exactly. But you're right. And then it will stay in that person's mind. And if they're taking in this kind of scene into their head, they will use it later. I mean, a good example was when we had a pretty basic. Was it Solomon Kane again with Skeleton Warriors? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, the Skeleton Warriors, yeah.
Yeah, and the biggest thing was, like, it weren't that the Skeleton Warriors were super tough, but they had ranged attack, and we had to fight them across a chasm.
Yeah, and then and there was a way round the chasm, but it required a lot of dexterous maneuvers and things like this. Yeah. So it was like
a lot of us fell.
You can stay there and fight them where they've got A, cover, and B, advantage, because you guys you can't all fight them at once because you were on a tiny spit of land, or you can try and make your way across and risk taking a load of attacks. It was like they knew their strategic advantage because that's where they bloody live.
Exactly, and that makes the battle more interesting because you're not just worrying about these skeleton warriors, you're also worrying about falling off the fucking edge.
yeah, that was funny. One really funny thing, I know we keep on digressing, but one really funny thing is that immediately after that, there was a bit where you guys had to fight the Sons of Thebes, which are like sort of an ancient historical figure. The way I used them wasn't at all historical, but they were basically a bunch of guys that were a fighting force of homosexual men who were put into pairs, and as a result they had everything to lose because they were deeply in love, basically, and so they would fight really fiercely, but they were also exactly like Zagat from Street Fighter. And one really funny thing is you got into this cave, and at the end, they'd set up this sort of like trap for you, and the cave started caving in. And there was this, you guys were fighting on these pillars that were like moving as you were on them.
Oh my God, yeah.
And Nick, being like the daring motherfucker, he was like, right, we got to jump across there and fight them, because they were basically leaping across, flying kicking you so hard it would break your jaw, and then leaping back in the same time.
Horrible. Yeah.
And the really funny thing is that obviously Nick was like, right, we can't do this. Clearly they can absolutely destroy us. And their parry was so high that even with the attack of opportunity, as they leaped away, there was fuck all you guys could do.
Nah, we weren't hitting them. Yeah, we weren't hitting them.
You guys couldn't stay where you were. So Nick jumped over to the main pillar, started fighting them on his own, and nobody bloody followed him.
Nick got his ass handed to him. Not a single one. Yep, and thrown off the edge. Thank you.
I think one of them kicked him in the face so hard, all he saw was like a ringing and like blackness, and then and then one of them just like uppercutted him over the edge. He fell 200 feet to his death.
Yep.
And then you saw like everyone else just standing there. But it was really funny, man. They got absolutely wailed on, and Nick
because we was bottlenecked, wasn't we? We were the rest of the player characters were bottlenecked, and they couldn't even attack because they were getting in each other's ways, and it was clever because they were fucking each other up. Yeah,
it was such a great way. Yeah, badly done combat encounter, and all it was because the bridge between one pillar and the other looked quite rickety, and everyone was like, "Look, I know we're getting our faces kicked in by these guys that are unbelievably tough. However, that bridge don't look right, mate.
Screw that."
It was like, come on, these guys are killing you.
Stand here and get our asses handed.
These are the hardest men alive, and you're like, that bridge.
that's the real boss.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know what I should have done as the final boss for that whole adventure?
Fucking
after 8 months of play, the skies open up, right? There's this big dark force. You hear this angelic music, and then a bridge with wings comes out. You're like, no, it's back.
You'll never beat me. Yeah. Oh shit. But no, you're right. I mean, so what? In summary, then, what are our little not, we never tell people how to run their games. We just try to advise on how we often do as. What would you say? What would you say are our little top tips?
Okay.
Yeah.
Try to make every fight unique in some way, even if that's just the weather or something like this.
Yep.
Bingo. Right. Second one, I would say, is to try to make the fights and combat encounters like a movie. You never see somebody just walk into a box with a monster in it in a movie. And then I would say try to encourage your players to do cinematic actions and try to encourage them to fight strategically and in fun ways. And then I would also say make your monsters fight intelligently as well.
Yeah, definitely. And also, encourage, if you can see it as a GM, if your player's struggling because they are in a bit of a poor situation, just kind of not tell them what to do, but just remind them gently that it's not all about just walking in and making an attack. There is so much more stuff you can do. In
any game, even the simple ones which don't have rules for that, you can do it.
Yep.
It's easy. So that's about it, really. I mean, I'm sure there's other points that we've said that we've missed off this little summary at the end, but... you figure it out, listeners. As I said, we didn't have a plan for this one, so it's a bit rambly.
It came out of nowhere. Impromptu bonus. Could it be I was just going to say as well, shall we shamelessly plug what we've got in the pipeline for our online stuff?
Yeah, Nick, you do it, man.
Okay, so, me and Harrison have been talking quite a lot recently. We really want to start getting our online games up and running because it's the one thing we've kind of fallen short on over the years. Obviously, we like talking about our games. We like running conventions, getting people involved. But we've always been more real, what's it called? Meat Space. Is it Meat Space?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. So obviously we do our Meat Space games and we talk about them and we run conventions and get people together in the real world. But we been a bit lapse on doing online stuff, and it's something that we'd really like to explore a little bit more. So we've been thinking about it, and we're going to start doing some more online games. So I'm going to kick it off with a Call of Cthulhu game, which is just a module from a Kickstarter that got ages ago. I've been dying to play it, but then we're going to get more of a regular structure going on. So Harrison's going to start working on some DCC stuff, and me too, and also some MCC stuff.
Pretty much we're going to be running DCC and MCC alternately online via Roll20, and we're going to be doing that. We're not really going to have a schedule, but we'll basically be announcing them with a 2-week run up so that everyone has plenty of time to get into our games. And it'll be invitation. We are going to say to patrons only, but it'll be announced to patrons first.
Yes,
but anyone can join. But patrons will have an extra week, basically, before
to fill the spaces.
Exactly,
exactly. So, and also, we want to keep it kind of we're hoping to keep it at a kind of open table format. So it's not a case of if you wasn't there for an episode, you're out. We're going to try and work it that characters can come back, and it's an open table, so we can keep the kind of flow going. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So every episode should be self-contained, and it will have an ongoing arc, but hopefully anyone could join at any time and have a good laugh. And the Cold Warning, the Call of Cthulhu one that Nick's running, will just be like its own thing.
Yep.
So that's basically it. So Nick, you're announcing your Call of Cthulhu game. When's that happening?
So I'm going to run that next Friday, which is let me just get the dates because it's pointless saying next Friday because we don't know when we're going to release our stuff. So 1 second, mate. We can cut this down.
Hold up. No, this bonus is going to be out after this. This is this is the most pointless announcement ever.
I was just coming out of nowhere, like straight away.
Oh, fuck it. No, I'll keep this announcement in anyway, because the thing is, this is going to be out while I'm in America. This is a sort of discussion that should be off air, isn't it, Nick?
Ever professional, mate.
No, but the point is, so just keep an eye out for those games. We'll announce them online. Next time,
I'm going to announce. Yeah,
properly. Offline.
Right, but no, so we're gonna start announcing it. There will be an announcement very, very soon for Cold Warning, and then going forward, we'll have a regular schedule where we'll be we're running and playing more online games for you if you want to. Yeah,
sweet.
I can feel the drugs wearing off now. I can start to feel my face again.
What? Is it painful?
Yeah, it's quite sore, but it's all good.
We should go around to the dentist and show them how it feels.
Just stab them with syringe.
Fingers in their mouths.
See how they like it.
Fucking dentist. Actually, no, that's a good way to spice up a combat encounter. Just start putting your fingers in people's mouths. No.
What you mean, like round the table?
Yeah.
GM just gets up, walks from behind his screen, and just gently puts his finger in one of theirs mouths and goes, "So, what are you going to do next?"
Don't know if I like that. All right.
That's the wrong kind of game.
Thank you very much for listening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Barbershop is in danger of growing stale. I'm taking it to strange new places.
These are the tales of the skeleton warriors.